I look at China very differently. I think China, we spend 3 times what China spends on our military. They don't want a hot war with us. And by the way, the kind of strategy.
We should tell Israel what's up. They get our tax dollars. Yeah, but the truth behind that though is how much of Israel's budget, how much of Israel's budget comes from. My understanding though is that like our aid, the aid that we're giving them, like it's not even that much. I think it's only like around 10. It's like somewhere around 10 to 20% of like their overall budget. So it's like if we just stop, like okay, granted it's like 10 to 20, like 10%, 10 to 20% ish, but like they're still like fully capable of supporting themselves, especially on their military side. How much is like honestly like just the aid thing is just like I honestly think is a little bit more of a symbol than anything else. How much of Israel's budget comes from uh the U.S. aid, right? Because like the thing is that if you look at geography, Israel actually doesn't have much natural resources. My understanding is Israel doesn't have it's a lot. I want to cut Israel off. Um, we'll take a look and see. But like my understanding is like Israel actually doesn't have a lot of like natural resources, so they rely a lot on trade. And like one of the things that's allowed them to become like economically viable is that they got really good in the tech sector, and so like they offer a lot of tech services that they export, which is how they make their money. USA reportedly accounts for some 15%. Yeah, see, 15% of Israel's defense budget. Uh, how much aid does the U.S. give to Israel? United States committed over 3.3 billion in foreign aid assistance to Israel in 2022. In the most recent year for which that exists, about 8.8 million that went towards the country's economy, while 99.7% of that aid went to the U.S. went to their military. So if wait, so yeah, right. So 350 billion. Sorry. So if a bulk of that, if almost all that aid is going to their military, but that's only accounting for 15% of their budget, right? That means like if our aid was to just drop off, it wouldn't like it literally it wouldn't be really much of anything to them. And then it's against the Palestinians. The Palestinians don't have like real infrastructure like that. So like they don't it's not like they're facing an existential threat from them. Fuck Israel. If I was president, I wouldn't give them shit. And then let's see. So if we give them 3.3 billion, how much is the U.S. budget? $6.2 trillion, right? So $6.2 trillion. So we're giving them. Fuck, I don't even know how to even like. I mean, I guess I could do it in billions, right? So, 6.2 divided by 1,000. Am I doing this right? All right, and then if I give them, and then we're giving them 3.3, about 3.3. So then I take that number, and I then multiply that by, right? Because by dividing that by 1,000, that's how much in trillions. That's how big of a part in trillions that is, right? I think my brain hurts. My brain really hurts. Point 0.2. So what's that? 2%. 2% of is. Am I right? 2% of that of 6.2 trillion. 2% of $6.2 trillion is how much? If I did this right, because like my brain is like seizing up on me right now to make sure I'm like actually doing these numbers right. We're giving them 2% of our overall budget. So it's like if we just stop giving them aid, it would literally change anything. But then on the grand scheme of things, right, it is still a jack ton of money. So like if we was to drop that off, if we would, because the problem is that people want to cut aid, but then they don't want to actually do anything else. 2% is too much. And the thing is like it truly isn't. But like if you look at it in terms of the actual dollar amount, now 3.3 billion, which is the 2%, if I did the math right, is a crap ton of money, right? You can like if we was to just not. If we was to at the very least not do it for 1 year and at least take that money and put it towards other shit in the U.S., like there's so much shit that you would be able to revamp. That's what I would have did as president. I would have been like, look, all the foreign aid stuff is like, look, I understand, like, Israel, you do not need this money year after year after year. You can go 1 year, right, real quick. Let me just take at least this amount of money and let me just fix all these things, and after that, then we can restart, right? Because you're our allies, and it's important that, you know, we support you, blah blah blah. Actually happy for Israel. They are useless. I don't know. I personally do not know the significance of Israel to the rest of the world per se. I think really if I'm not mistaken, I think like their use, or not their use, but like their support, or like why it's important to have that relation with them, is with Iran. It's just because like they provide a really good counterpoint for Iran in that region, because like we have you know, a rock solid ally. I said I don't know too much about the Israel stuff, so I'm not gonna comment or make too much assumptions. But if Israel wasn't there, there's no country over there that we really have a lot of like significant cooperation with. So I think that's what made Israel particularly significant there, because like we work so closely with them, which really helped with shit in Afghanistan, shit with Iran, shit with Syria especially. You know, that's I think that's probably like what it is, because outside of that I can't really I don't know much of anything else in that regard. So I think that's the reason why like that, probably like that part's the way it is. I'm trying to think like what else. It's just like with like the importance of Poland, right? Because Poland was super important for us, because it was like, you know, right there, like, I mean, basically like right there on the Russia to help us keep the Russians in check militarily. And now that we got like some of the other countries that joined because of the Ukraine war, right? That made all that like pretty good. So now like the only last, I think, frontier really is to say if we really have anything significant for China, which we don't. Can't rely on Taiwan, because if stuff kicks off, Taiwan is sinking. Taiwan in its entirety would probably sink, because it'd be so incredibly difficult to defend a small island that's right there a couple of miles away from China, while we're like halfway on the other side of the planet. I don't see that. I don't see that as a really good defendable position. Japan's another one where like I don't know like how. I mean, Japan is a rock solid ally, but I just don't know like from a military build-up point of view. I don't know like how much oomph will we be expecting them to provide against China. I don't know. The thing with Australia, the Australia Japan thing, I think was like really good. Australia now could be poised to like set up some stuff. Which, speaking of Australia, man, China's hard. We need that South China Sea. Yeah. I think Australia, and this is why like the whole ally thing I think is so super important, because like we shouldn't be in this business of trying to like trying to police up all over the world. Like we gotta start offloading this to like some of the other nations. Like Australia, I think could be like in a really good position. They got a lot, you know, a lot of land, a lot of resources. Not saying that they should like pilfer their land. I don't even think if they can, because like, bro, like of all the animals on this planet, like the shit in Australia is wild. They got creatures over there that are just like that. My God, I don't even know if I'd ever be able to sleep if I ever like went to go visit. The UK needs to UK definitely needs to like do something with needs to help with like the Israeli stuff. I think probably with the Middle Eastern stuff. I think for sure. Like them and the French could probably like help like with the Russia, but like but Poland and I think Finland or whatever was the other country that came in, like they that became like super important now on the Russia side, Middle Eastern side, Israel, and then like we just got to set up thing for China, then everything should be all good, and then it just needs to cool off from there. Okay, what else we got? Oh yeah, let me go back to